Are you ready to turn your successful business into the next great franchise brand? Hi, I'm Todd Abraham, franchise consultant with Franchise Marketing Systems, the #1 franchise consulting company in America and Canada. If you've ever thought about franchising your business, now's the time to explore the possibilities. And my consulting services are completely free to any entrepreneur looking to create a franchise from their proven business model. At Franchise Marketing Systems, we handle everything: your franchise disclosure document, federal trademark filing, franchise information website, business plan, and so much more. And the best part, we make it affordable, breaking project fees into 6 to 8 easy monthly installments. So before you take your business nationwide, get the expert guidance you deserve with no pressure and no upfront cost. Call Todd Abraham today at 423-381-0925 for your free consultation. That's 423-381-0925. Todd Abraham with Franchise Marketing Systems, your one-stop shop for everything franchising. All you folks out there in podcast land, we are back with the Franchise Marketing Systems podcast series. We're meeting the team that makes up the diamond, which is Franchise Marketing Systems. And our gentleman that we're meeting today, his name is Gregg Rondinelli, and he's another facet of the diamond, if you will, that makes up about 38 team members that work with Franchise Marketing Systems. And so, Gregg, welcome to the podcast, and introduce yourself and give us a little bit of background about who you are and how you came to be a part of FMS.
Great. Thanks, Todd. I'm a development specialist, and my role with Franchise Marketing Systems is to meet franchisor candidates and have a conversation with them that qualifies them as a likely to be very successful franchisor. And then once we go through the work of becoming a franchisor as a team, they're their own company. We don't share royalties with them, etc. It's their company. We've designed their business plan internally as a franchisor. We've designed what their franchisee should expect. We've created all their legal paperwork as a franchisor, their franchise disclosure document, usually called an FDD by most people. Their brand standards manual, employee manuals, marketing materials, internet capability to meet people that say they're interested. Once they're done with that process, we work through potentially helping them sell the franchise. I never would ask a franchisor to commit to an agreement to sell their franchise until we've priced it, we know what the royalties look like. Is it something that we feel is extremely, valuable to the franchisee? So we negotiate along the way to create something that hopefully we can sell with them. Exclusively, non-exclusively, it's all about that franchisor getting what they need in the process of selling the franchise. So that's what I do. My background is really as a family office manager. So I worked in that profession for 3 different family offices. I ran one exclusively myself for a number of years and did a lot of investing on behalf of these families into growth companies. So I never really got into franchising until I met Chris Connor and his team and was working on a franchise program for them. And then I joined them full time about 1.5 years ago. So my ideal candidate, if you're wondering who am I looking for, is someone that has something that's going to be valuable to the franchisee. So I jokingly tell franchisors, one time you're going to call me in the middle of the night because something critical is going on. I'm going to say, you know what? I don't really care about you right this minute. I'm thinking about the franchisee. We're at that stage of developing our plan. And they're like, wait a second, you don't care about me anymore? That doesn't make sense. Like, no. Let me finish my sentence. I care about the franchisee because when that person's happy, we're happy, because I do care about you and I care about myself and my company and doing this properly with you. So I sort of break the ice with people as they're deciding, do I really want to do this with Franchise Marketing Systems? We've got a lot of experience for 20 years doing this. I don't know what the number is. It's north of 750, somewhere around 1,000 franchisors have launched with us. One of the other things I facilitate is working with the rest of the world, right? So there are franchise broker companies that are franchises that someone joins and says, I have the state of Illinois. If anyone's going to franchise this brand, it's going to be me in this state of Illinois. Who is this company coming forward, Gregg? And I tell them the story, load their portal, as they call it, up with information about the franchisor, what the attributes are, who we're looking for, critical elements from the franchise disclosure documents. Say, this is what we're doing. This is who we're looking for. Do you have anyone like this? So 150 people get a look at the franchisor's opportunity, and they view it through their own, lens. I specialize in retail. This is a restaurant, no interest for me. Or I like restaurants or anything that's profitable. I'll take a look at it and see if I've got a candidate that might be looking for something that is close to this, or this is exactly it. So then I get to interface with the broker, meet the franchisee candidate, and then I filter through the good ones and say, now it's time for you to meet the franchisor. So now the franchisor isn't spending a lot of time figuring out that it's not a good fit, right? Because their time's valuable. They're running a company that's franchising. So a lot of folks want us to, meet and greet and get to know the franchisee candidate through a broker group. And then we introduce the good ones that have the funding, fit the bill for who we're looking for, seem to be the type that would be a good fit for the personality of the franchisor, because you're creating a marriage. But now you're doing it through a marriage broker, right? Like, I've got someone great. Make sure you fall in love with them. No, I don't fall in love easily. Let me get to know your person really well. And if I feel it's a good fit, then I'm going to introduce you to the franchisor. And then, we do that negotiation.
If I can interrupt you brought up a good point about when you're talking to, your potential franchisor, about, making sure that the franchisee is happy. And it goes back to something that I've said for years, and I say this to help the listeners understand the analogy of what you brought up there. We've all heard it said for years, especially if you got the age on, that your employees are the lifeblood of your business, or your customers. But I disagree with that wholeheartedly. I say your employees are the lifeblood of your business, because if your employees are happy, your customers are going to be happy. And that same analogy fits exactly what you said. As a franchisor, if your franchisees are happy, everybody's going to be happy.
Right. So the way that you get that right is during the development process, when you're actually deciding what your FDD says, right? So FDD, franchise disclosure document. What are you telling people? If you tell them everything that I say goes and I don't care about what you're saying through the written word, people are going to read that and say, you know what, this doesn't work for me. I don't want someone to tell me how to advertise, right? So even though that may be your goal because you really believe that's the only way it's going to work, you say, we do the advertising. We charge you for that. This is about what you should be spending. But if you think there's a better way to do it, we can agree to do it differently through an amendment, right? So now someone goes, okay, this is a very self-assured company. They think they know how to advertise as well as anyone could. They might be right, but they're willing to hear about the fact that my wife is an unbelievably great advertising executive and knows what I'm about better than you ever could. And it's a restaurant, so we all know what that looks like. Would you entertain this? And the smart franchisor says, of course I will. I'm interested in you signing up because I think you're right for us and vice versa. Let's do a call with your wife. And then the call ends. It's like, you know what? I'm going to use you instead of who I've been using. All of us are better off. Or, with all due respect, your wife specializes in something much different than what we're doing. She doesn't really understand SEO, although you thought she did. This isn't a good fit, and I really can't make an amendment, but I'll talk to another person if you're still interested in bringing some on the table. And they say, you know, you're right. I didn't really understand what she was doing. It isn't exactly what I thought it was. Glad you caught that for me. Thanks for entertaining the idea. You're a reasonable person. I'm going with you the way you said it should be. Right. So it's going to end up something like that.
So the ability to as a franchisor to listen and entertain the like you say, the ideas of their franchisees. I could definitely see where that'd be very important in I should say expanding the potential field of franchisees who are going to buy and become part of that company. That's really good. Can you tell us about your website? It's called strategicfranchisebrokers.com. Is that right?
Yes, what we refer to as strategic around the campfire called FMS. So strategic is exactly what I described to you when you're getting a broker group involved, or maybe just one broker that's outside of franchise marketing systems. So what we do is we work with other people that, it's a very tight-knit community, the franchisor development world. So someone that I know at a brokerage firm may say, my company allows me to do whatever I want to do, and I pay to have access to everyone that comes on full time and signs up as a franchisor, client, and all of us get a look at that. But I saw through an advertisement that you're representing this company, Franchise Marketing System brought it out. They're not using a broker network. But you know me. I'm a good broker. I'm part of a broker network. I'm free to work outside my network. Would you make a deal with me? I have someone looking for this exact model. I said, of course. It's good to see you, over the Zoom call here. What have you been up to? Everything's good, right? So then strategic makes a deal with the franchisor that says, unlike our standard franchise marketing system agreement, this one involves a third party. We have to compensate this person. How do you feel about doing it this way? And we make a deal over the telephone, documented in an hour. And the franchisor goes, yep, I'm in. Let's do it. I want that 3-pack that you're selling to a broker that wants Virginia. I just got registered there and I don't have any candidates. So the state's open. Let's do it. I love this person. Good. We brokered a deal through a third party through strategic. If we do it within franchise marketing system, then I've got a network of people that I work with on a daily basis that say, someone called me regarding this. I told them we just launched a new one. It's yours. And they seem to like your idea more than this other idea, which is a different business anyway. They said they were interested in 2 or 3 things. This is one of them. Let's get together and do this together. So then you're not really needing strategic because it's all under the same hood of franchise marketing systems.
So in your experience, because like you said, you worked in investment banking for a long time, so you've got to see probably about every aspect of the business world. Tell us what you love about what makes franchise marketing systems such a great and special company to work with and to work for.
Well, I'd say the most important differentiator between franchise marketing systems and some of the other fine companies that do the same kind of work, we're really good people to work with. Like I haven't met one person in my own company that I said, yeah, that's sort of an egotistical view of things, right? Everyone's reasonable, fair-minded, experienced, willing to collaborate with people, hear the other side of the conversation. So I think that's very important because we're going to create something together with the franchisor candidate, and it can't be a rote, mechanical, robotic process. Real thought goes into everything, especially what I do personally. I really want to dig in and say, have you considered this? This is a unique idea. I think it might be interesting to you. No one else has thought of this. Let's try it. And then the person goes, you know what? I love it or I don't love it. Let's do a little bit of in between. And you're sort of negotiating with the franchisor so that he can actually hear something he's never heard of before. Like, how do you structure a royalty deal on something as unique as what I'm doing? It isn't always 6%, okay, or 10%, right? It could be a tiered system, a phased in, a deferred until this happens. So you have to put a lot of thought into things to get people's wheels turning to maybe end up with what you started at, but you've sort of hashed through all the possibilities. So we take the time to do it right.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's what, in my experience with franchise marketing systems as a franchisor for Heartbeat Christian News, I noticed the same thing, that there doesn't seem to be any egos in FMS. And I mean, even from Chris on down, just like I've mentioned on several of the other podcasts, yeah, I mean, I've met lots of CEOs over the years, and I'm being honest when I say that Chris Connor, I believe, is about the most humble, hardest working CEO that I personally have ever met, and very positive. And everybody in FMS that I've met is just complete positive, but realistic, but positive realistic. And I love that about this company. So now my understanding is that you generate some leads through TikTok. Is that right? That would totally surprise me.
Yep.
Tell
My
us about that.
specialty is the TikTok person. Okay.
That's
So
cool.
I get a look at all those people every day. And as you might imagine, it's a wide range of people. I love it because it's a little bit more open to suggestion personality typically. It may not be the most sophisticated business people all the time, but people are smart when they're encouraged to do something that they're interested in. People that say, I'm just a shopper having fun, got sidetracked and found you guys by accident. I still am going to take my time to say, if I educated you more about what you're doing, maybe it might not be right for you, but you may know someone that it might, hit right between the eyes. Think of me and maybe refer me someone that is a good fit. And maybe you'll change your mind and do something that's franchisable in the future. It's been great getting to know you real quickly here. I'm interested in helping you. So that's really been a welcome message to people I've spoken to.
That's something to you and I talked just the other day, maybe it was yesterday, but I mean that when you told me that, I was like, oh my God. I said, I would never have guessed that, you could develop leads, in the franchise business through TikTok. But, in this world we live in today, nothing surprises us anymore, right?
Yep. One of my favorite, sidebar conversations with my kids. Well, I'm getting all my leads through TikTok, girls. What do you think of that? And they're like, Dad, you're kidding me. No, I'm not. I'm not kidding you. So now you're on TikTok. Yep, I'm on TikTok. So it's been fun.
So do most of your leads that come through TikTok, is it folks that become franchisors, folks that become franchisees, or a mix of both?
It's 90%. I have a business. I want to consider franchising it. So I want to become a franchisor. A couple times I've met someone that said, I might want to buy a franchise. And there's a good story behind this. One of our people came in and she was going through some personal problems in her marriage. And it was an old lead. They saw us on TikTok and said, I'm going to call in and see what's happening these days, met me. And eventually they said, we're not going to franchise that business, but when you reached out to me, I saw you on TikTok. We reconnected and they said, I'm looking to, maybe buy a Starbucks. I said, well, good luck with that. What city? Orlando. Oh, good. That's going to be easy to do, right? It's been sold out for years. So I said, we have an excellent coffee house brand. I didn't develop it, but the person I work closely with did. It's doing extremely well. Would you like to meet these folks? She ended up buying 6 units.
Wow.
So things happen, but you have to take the time to get to know somebody, right? So after 30 minutes, she's like, let me tell you the whole story behind why I'm not sure I want to move forward. I might not be running this business much longer, unless things change for the better.
So just out of curiosity, what brand of coffee house was that? What was the name of the company?
It's called Kawa Coffee.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
But you're using the marriage analogy, but really it is very similar to the courtship. Then you got the marriage process because marriage, you don't want to rush into that. You got to get to know the other person, and once the consummation of the marriage takes place, then of course both lives change. And that's really the same process with the franchisee and the franchisor is, once they get to know each other and everybody's qualified and they sign the contract, I mean, both of their lives change from that point forward. So,
I've used the marriage analogy before myself, but as I think about it now, it's really like having kids, because who do your kids learn from when they don't know how to do something? The parent, right? Then they learn how to do it very well and don't need the parent as much. So that's really what happens, right? So you meet someone, you say, I know you've got no experience doing this, but anyone with a good heart and the ambition and the fortitude to learn and take directions can do this. Or no, it's a highly specialized thing. You should be very well qualified, or I'm not going to be able to teach you, right? That's a tough call to make, like telling your child, you're never going to become an ice skater. It's been impossible. Let's try skiing. I know you like cold sports, right? So in this analogy, I don't think you're right for the restaurant industry, but you'd be really good at this, right? You'd be really good at being a power washer, or, someone that owns a laundromat company or whatever it may be. So you have to get the fit there, and that's hard, right? It's hard to say no to someone that wants you to say yes. So one of the key ingredients in finding out, are you going to be a successful franchisor? Tell me about how much money you're going to make as a franchisee. Tell me how much it costs to become a franchisee. What are your expectations for the person? Is that person available? If so, let's move forward. Because the last thing we want is someone that says, I invested my time, I invested my money, I spent a ton of Gregg's time. He's been very generous with it. It's just not working. Well, why is that? Because we didn't ask the tough questions. Is this going to be successful for you? So on my entry call, the very first one off of TikTok, I ask all these questions when people say 90%, 100%, 100%, 100%. Okay, let's focus on the 90%. What's going on here? Oh, I'm not sure how much it costs. Well, that's not a good answer. Let's find out what that really looks like.
Right.
If it's a range, but between 250 and 260, that's immaterial. If it's somewhere between 200,000 and $1 million, let's figure that one out first, because that's going to determine if you're going to be successful or not, right?
That's a broad range, yes.
Yeah. So I want to nail it down.
Yeah, that's one thing that I've tried to point out on every podcast we've done about FMS, is that it's the honesty of the company and the fact that they don't just take checks from anybody to everybody that says, I want to franchise my business. I mean, FMS has a very detailed, free, no pressure consultation, but to do what you just said, to analyze every aspect of the business to make sure that, it is going to be a good franchise that franchisees can do well with, because as Chris said, and as well, once they get all those moving pieces done and this business goes from a traditional business to becoming a franchise, then FMS is going to help them sell those franchises. So it's really, really a great formula.
That's absolutely the goal, is let's build it together, sell it, however we agree to sell it, exclusively, non-exclusively, etc. Get all our agreements wired in, how much are we going to be charging when we use a third party? What if it's your lead from your internet? What if we bring it? So it's not complex, but good agreements prevent bad disagreements. So we would never say, let's just do it on a handshake. And when I bring you someone that I think is the best ever at a fair price, you say, what? This isn't how we do things. So the franchise disclosure document, the franchise agreements, very clear, solid agreements to prevent disagreements over little things, right? Same thing goes in with our franchise sales proposal. Let's talk about all the different possibilities that might come our way and make sure when the right person comes through the door, we're willing to do it based on what we've talked about and agreed to. Because ultimately, all we really want is the right franchisee to sign the agreement. That's the key.
That's awesome. Well, Gregg, you've given us a lot of very useful and good information, things that we haven't heard yet, some things that reassure, anybody that's considering franchise marketing systems for either to create a franchise out of their business or to help them sell their franchises. And like Laura had mentioned yesterday, Laura Rosenthal, who is the Chief Operating Officer, FMS has other services outside of those two arms that they help provide, like marketing services and things like that. What would you like to tell anybody that's listening in as we get ready to close, that you're passionate about, with FMS and like what you do that maybe you haven't shared already?
Well, you know what? I always start my background in family office management, working for $1 billion families. I was taught very early on, do your thing and stick to what you're good at doing. Don't ask too many questions that aren't your business, and help this family get you know, the achievement that they're targeting. Okay, whether it's tax efficiency or finding what college our kids should go to because there's 3 good choices, do all the deep researching we don't have the time for. Give us the information, let us make the decision. So what I'd like to talk to people about in the very beginning is, tell me a little bit about yourself as if I was your family office manager. Why are you interested in franchise? What's the benefit? Is it because you're getting up in age and want a legacy to leave to your family and kids to run, and they don't want to work in the restaurant business themselves, but they're good about training, they've worked in them? Or do you want to get to 500 units in 5 years and make the front page of the Wall Street Journal, right? What is it that's important to you? Because guess what? That's all I care about. What's important to you has to be manageable and obtainable. Just like when I was in the family office industry, if you want me to find the best way to get your hands on your own private jet, we can buy one, lease one, share one with the family, net jets, whatever it may be. I want to help you meet your goals. So I ask a question. To know more about you, tell me about your 3 favorite companies in the world, in the United States. And they rattle off all the big ones, right? Amazon, great new company. Bank of America. Okay, great. What else? The Postal Service. Okay, fine. All great companies, right? Here's my favorite company, Girl Scouts. And they laugh. They literally don't understand what I'm talking about. And they go, Gregg, I thought you were a pretty smart guy there for a while. Now I'm having second thoughts. The Girl Scouts, really? Yeah, the Girl Scouts. Here's why. 3 little girls come up to your door. They knock on it. You start sweating profusely. Where's my wallet? I'm buying Thin Mints, even though I don't want them. Why? Because they're doing a good thing for themselves, for society, and you're getting a good quality product for that $2, right? It's a great company. And guess what the best part is, right? Because they say, well, that makes it a good company. I don't know if it's the best company. No one's on their payroll. As a franchisor, no one's on your payroll. The franchisee brings the money. They make the payroll. They own that company. They give you a royalty off the top, right? You're training them. Just like the Girl Scouts get great training from those ladies that train those girls. And everybody ends up being better off for it. They're like, you know what? You are smart. Thanks for this. But it's a good analogy. It's far flung.
That's right. It is
Think of, but it's a really good analogy.
All right. So like I said, we're here on the Franchise Marketing Systems podcast series. We're meeting the team, and today we've been talking with Gregg Rondinelli. And one thing I guess I never asked you, Gregg, but as we get ready to close here, just let everybody know, like, what is your title with the company, how to get a hold of you, and then we'll wrap this thing up.
You can reach me at Gregg, Gregg, Rondinelli, Rondinelli at FMSfranchise.com. You can also get me at Gregg, I believe it's Gregg at strategicfranchisebrokers.com.
And that's with 2 G's, right?
Yep, 2 G's, Gregg. And my phone number, feel free to call me, 949-293-4866. And I would describe myself as a development consultant, so I can help you develop the strategy, make sure we really look at it closely so that you get your franchise system to really represent your vision, not our vision, right? We can do this for any type of person that has a viable system, but we want someone to read that franchise disclosure document and say, I really get this. I know who you are through these words. And it's not FMS. It's not franchise marketing system. It's the franchisor that has to come through. This is their system.
Fantastic. So what time zone are you in, Gregg?
I'm in Central Time Zone.
Central Time Zone.
California phone number, but I live in Middle Tennessee.
Gotcha. All right. So Gregg Rondinelli, just another, again, facet of the FMS Diamond. Gregg, thanks so much for your time. Some very, very good information. Like I said, things that we have not heard yet, and some things that just reinforce things that we've covered with some of the other team members. But my friend, we appreciate it, and we'll get this thing aired probably this coming Sunday night. Today is June the 6th, so it looks like we'll probably be airing this thing come, like I said, about Sunday night. So thanks again, buddy.
Excellent. I appreciate you.
All right, buddy. Have a good day.
Okay, thanks, Todd.
Bye. Are you ready to turn your successful business into the next great franchise brand? Hi, I'm Todd Abraham, franchise consultant with Franchise Marketing Systems, the #1 franchise consulting company in America and Canada. If you've ever thought about franchising your business, now's the time to explore the possibilities. And my consulting services are completely free to any entrepreneur looking to create a franchise from their proven business model. At Franchise Marketing Systems, we handle everything: your franchise disclosure document, federal trademark filing, franchise information website, business plan, and so much more. And the best part, we make it affordable, breaking project fees into 6 to 8 easy monthly installments. So before you take your business nationwide, get the expert guidance you deserve with no pressure and no upfront cost. Call Todd Abraham today at 423-381-0925 for your free consultation. That's 423-381-0925. Todd Abraham with Franchise Marketing Systems, your one-stop shop for everything franchising.